Thank you all for clicking and welcome back to the channel. So, where's the market going to head in fall of 2024? It is a huge debate. People want to know where this is actually going. So, before that starts, we all know that September 4th, Bank of Canada will sit down and they will discuss different options when it comes to bank rates. So the rumors say that they will lower interest rates by another quarter. So that's what they're promising, and they're probably will head towards more interest rate reductions, right? So they're potentially will sum it up by 1% by the end of 2024. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. But the way that it's kind of trajecting, it seems like that's the path that's going to head. So now a huge question and a fully loaded question for most sellers in the current real estate market is that, where are the prices going to head, and why I believe that they will decline. So my personal opinion is that the prices will deflate and we will have more listings hit the market and whatnot. And why I say that is because in previous historical data, we've seen it all the time, right? In the beginning of the year, let's say if we take January being the beginning of the year, towards June, yes, we have more listings hit the market, but we also have more sales within that particular time. But then the second half of the year usually feathers off, right? So yeah, we do lose some of the listings because they expire or they get canceled, or some people will list back in springtime the following year. But this is usually what is happening, and it has been happening for a long time. Now, it's not going to be any different this time around. Yes, these interest rate cuts will definitely help, because it will kind of help that trajectory, or these potential buyers will kind of clearly see where it's heading towards, which doesn't mean that they will pull a trigger. And why haven't the market exploded is of so many factors, but one of them simply said that, rate cuts, it was not enough, right? Just because you lower something a quarter of the point doesn't mean that you will have an influx of buyers and that these buyers are going to go crazy and that the demand is huge and whatnot, right? Because on the other side of the spectrum, you had listing count that skyrocketed, right? So buyers have more options. The banks started squeezing, even though they're cutting the rates. But when you actually walk into a bank, it's sort of walk into a park. They still want to know what is going on. They want to make sure that they can approve for your funds. So, but then also another question that many buyers are asking in today's market is it even worth buying real estate, right? Just because it's available doesn't mean that is affordable. So if someone, as an example, can purchase this particular home, let's say for $1 million, and they would put $200,000 down and have an $800,000 mortgage, and the same house they can rent for 3 times less a month, then what's a good option? I mean, you know what I mean? So that's why a lot of these buyers are finding that current real estate conditions are too expensive for it to make any sense. And believe me, everyone wants to be a landlord or wants to be an owner, and why they would throw money in renting, right? Because most of the people say, hey, look, renting, you're basically throwing your money away and whatnot, and And yes, in a way, that is the truth. But then on the other side, if it makes financial sense, then it just makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? If it's going to cost you 3 times less to rent versus purchase, then, most people, they just rent. And the difference that they would pay just for owning the same property that they're renting, and they can consider that their profits, right? And in most cases, and in some cases, it can be significant, right? Like if you have to choose between $3,000 a month for a lease or $9,000 of mortgage, taxes, insurances, and additional costs just to own, then that's $72,000 annual difference. Plus, you gave your savings and you put 20% down. So how does this make any sense? So that's the problem that people are having. So most, I would say, entrepreneurs or most speculators, investors, they don't have a problem qualifying, giving that deposit, making sure, right, like that they earn the right. But then they want to see the benefit, which totally makes sense, right? So I don't think that these current market conditions allow that, right? Like, not everyone will be able to pay their house off in, 20 years or 10 years or whatever the number is, but it has to make sense on an affordability monthly standpoint. So that's kind of what I think. And then, you have these new buyers and all of that stuff that simply cannot make that down payment. Like they don't have a way of collecting or saving the down payment. It's too much, like for most, right? And even if they're not being unreasonable, because there's some first-time buyers that are totally unreasonable. You know what I mean? Like they wanted 3,000 square foot. You know what I mean? Like right there. Like this is what I like. Can you find something like that? Yes, I can, but it's gonna cost you $4 million, right? So, but anyways, besides the point. So I think that the market in fall will continue trending down, like heavily, right? Because we all know kids will go back to school in September. And then, September, it's probably a write-off. Some of the people that, had a good time over the summer months, spending and all that stuff, they probably have to recover their finances back. So think about that. September, write-off. October, they will think about what they will do. November, everybody's getting ready, colder months. December, holiday season, and there you go. So when you think about that, it's done. You know what I mean? The year will be over and it's finished. So the next year, 2025, the spring market is the second question that most people ask me. It is fair. It will be more aggressive. The buyers will wake up. Most of buyers will be qualified by then. But what will happen? And what will happen is very simple. The market will wake up, but at what price? Because it's not like that buyers don't buy today. The buyers will buy today, but at what price? The motivation has to be definitely there for a buyer to get up today and make that particular move. It has to make financial sense for them. And if it doesn't make financial sense for them, they will simply not pull the trigger because they know there's months of inventory and they will find something. Unless there's obviously something specific that they're looking at and there's one of the kind, and you can maybe ask, not maybe, certainly a certain premium for that type of property. But other than that, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, like we're in a decline when it comes to that. They're trying to offset it with the mortgage rate cuts. I hope that they keep going that direction. Now, inflation is for another video probably, but if you agree with me or disagree with me, please comment below, because it is always very interesting to kind of hear your own comments and hear these opinions, and I don't have to be right, but looking at everything and knowing what I know so far, I think that's the trend. So the fall market will fall, and we'll see what's going to happen in 2025. Until then, be well. Please like, subscribe, and share, and see you all next time.